different paces do you have when you go out there and run? I remember a while back mentioning to a friend of mine when I was just getting into running that I can never run a marathon. And her response to me was, "You're running too fast." And that day it really got me thinking, because she was right. I mean, if you can walk a marathon, then you certainly can run a marathon. I mean, it's the same thing, whether it's a fast walking pace or if it's a sprint, right? And so it got me thinking about how many different paces I have. And honestly, when I started, I had two paces. I had a fast and a slow, and that was it. And I'm sure a lot of you, if you're just amateurs, just getting started, just getting into running, that you're probably in the same boat. And the longer you run, the more paces you kind of develop. And so today is all about figuring out our different paces, because the best runners in the world have the most paces, right? They all have 8 or more different gears that they can switch on at any part in the race, whether it's an all-day pace, whether it's a sprint, a fast pace, a pace to catch up to a friend that's 50 yards ahead, or a pace to just run next to a buddy and carry on a conversation. And so these are all different paces that we can develop as runners. And so today's workout is going to be a little bit faster run than we did the first 2 days, but also a little bit shorter. It's just a 1 mile fast run. Now, most of us can't sprint a mile. So if you go out there and you sprint, you're going to be huffing and puffing about 50 yards into it, 100 yards into it, and start to slow down and start to regress in your running. So try to find that fast pace that you could go out with, that you can not only start the race with, but also finish it. So this is going to be a 1 mile fast run. And what this is going to do is I'm going to put a chart, attach a chart down below that you can pull up. I got this from the Born to Run 2 book. And so if you're looking for some good books to read, definitely Born to Run 2. I'll get into more of those books as we go through the challenge, but super awesome books. And this chart's simple. All you're going to do is take the pace, whatever you ran your mile in, you're going to look at your time, and then it's going to tell you all the gears 1 through 8. And this we're going to use throughout the rest of the challenge. So go out there, and this is also a test that we can come back to at the end. We can run a mile when it comes closer to race day. We'll realize that our paces have changed. So don't get too caught up about what your pace is today, because that will improve once we get closer to the big race on Thanksgiving Day. And so go out there and run free, and I'll see you tomorrow. A quick tip for you guys. So yesterday we brought in the 100 ups, where we were jogging in place, marching in place, bringing the knees high. So I really want to encourage you guys to start off each day with that same warm-up. And this is going to do a couple of things. It's not only going to free the hips and start activating the running muscles that we need to run our best race, but also it's going to teach us to drive the foot through the ground behind us. And it's going to teach us to keep the feet under the hips, because when we go out there and run, we don't want to necessarily change this stride, right? We want to be using the same stride that we're using in the 100 ups when we hit the track, so that we're not overextending and extending the foot well in front of the hip, creating all those problems that we mentioned on day. So just join me on the ground while we do some stretching. I'm also going to use yoga tune-up therapy ball. This is the alpha sized ball, and I'll post a link down below. I'm going to be using these balls a few times throughout this challenge. So you can buy these for under $20, and like I said, I'll leave the link down below. But we're going to use these to kind of release some tension in the body. If you don't have one right now, go ahead and grab a lacrosse ball, a tennis ball, softball. Just be a little weary on something that's a little bit harder, because it's not as pliable. It's not going to be able to bend or mold around the tissues. So just go a little bit easier with something like that. But all I want you to do to start off, we'll lay down on our back. As we do, we'll just bring the feet to the ground and just hug one knee in. It doesn't matter which one. We'll just circle the ankle a few times, and then we'll reverse the circles just to mobilize those ankle joints that we're working while we were running. And then we're just going to reach down with the opposite arm, grab the ankle, and just kind of hug this knee across the body. We're getting this deep glute muscle here called the piriformis. Deep glute stretch. And so many runners, I mean, these glute muscles are the number one muscles that we use while running. So they're super tight. And also, a lot of runners, the IT band and the hip gets super tight because we use those to stabilize. So those are the three really important things that we do want to stretch. So if you notice, I'm just coming out of this stretch and then coming back in. And we just hold that for a few seconds. Then we release. We can allow the leg to extend, just shake it out. And then we'll just bring the foot to the earth and grab the other knee, hug the other knee in, circling the ankle a few times left and a few times right. And then just sliding the opposite arm down to grab the ankle, just hugging around the knee, bringing it towards the center of the body. So bringing the heel towards the outside of the opposite leg, right? So bringing it across the body. Feeling this through the deep glute. And this is the muscle where the sciatic nerve runs right underneath. So if you ever get sciatica, this is a good stretch for that as well. And then we'll just release once you kind of pulse out and in a few times. Shake that leg out, bring it back in. And we're just coming back to the right side. This time we're going to do a figure four. So we'll place the ankle on top of the left quad or right quad, depending on what foot you're grabbing first. We're just gently moving that right knee away and either staying here or lifting the foot off the ground and grabbing underneath the thigh, giving that leg a gentle squeeze towards the shoulder, moving the opposite knee away. And then we'll just allow that to release, just stretching that hip out. We can extend both legs, shake them out. And then we're just going to do the same thing to the opposite side. So for me, I'm just grabbing the left knee in, sliding the right hand down, placing the ankle on the top of that quad, allowing the knee to move away and staying here if this is okay. Or to make it a little more intense, I bring the right foot off the ground, reaching underneath, around that thigh, hugging the right knee towards the right shoulder, moving the left knee away, stretching out that left hip side. And then just go ahead and release it. Shake both legs out. Now in order to get into that deep glute, a little bit deeper this time, I'm going to grab the ball. I'm either going to place it underneath, or you can even grab a book or a block to plop it up if you wanted to. But seeing how the ball's big enough, I'm just going to place it under here. So the dimple's right on the low back, that's the SI joint. And so I'm just going to go a little bit below that, okay, not on the joint itself. And that's where I'm going to start. I'm just going to roll over the ball. And I'm just going to breathe here, allowing the tissues to relax around the ball. Trying to relax the glute as much as I can, even straightening the leg to allow those glute muscles to soften. And as I do this, I'm rolling the ball down ever so slightly, just a quarter of an inch at a time. And trying to soften around that, getting in there. And continuing to roll the ball down towards your almost mid-glute. And you can bend the knee and you can kind of feel for yourself just moving the ball underneath. No particular way, but trying to break up some of those tissues. Getting all the way down almost to the attachments of the hamstring, which is where the hamstring and the glute meet. And once you arrive down there, we'll just roll off the ball. We'll just switch sides. We'll place the ball starting again right below that dimple on the opposite side and just coming over it. Breathing for a few breaths, trying to soften the tissues around the ball. And then just allowing the ball to roll just a quarter of an inch at a time. You can even do this sitting on a chair as well. Do your best to soften the muscles around the ball, even coming up onto your hands, around your forearms. Doing your best to get into some of those tissues, breaking them up and kind of chasing the tight areas, finding out maybe where you do have pain. Maybe it's a little bit more on the outside of the glute. So rolling the ball towards that side, coming down onto a forearm, right? Or whatever you need, just rolling out those tissues, not spending more than 2.5 minutes each side, and then getting up, shake it out, and just see how you feel. Each time you use these balls, the nervous system will let go just a little bit more, and you'll be able to go a little bit deeper into some of those tissues, and you should notice an improvement when you're out there running, just being a little bit more mobile. So I hope this helped, and if you have any questions, as always, drop them down below. But most importantly, if you've had any breakthroughs and something worked for you, please share them in this group. Please share them down below, because they may help somebody else as well. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.